are you doing, guys? And who's here for the very first time from which of the world? Just say, let us know. 2 more minutes of small talk and chatting, and then we start this meeting properly. UK, I see UK. What else? I know Germans. We have some Germans here. I know USA. There's some from the US.
Thank you, Almut. And Almut is doing an amazing job building a team globally as well. So it's really exciting to work with you and to be working with you on the leadership team as well. It's been a real privilege. So, folks, what we're talking about here is charity begins at home. That's the first slide. And let's face it, most of us during our lifetime have wanted to be a contributor in helping other people become successful. And sometimes it's just helping people to survive, right? And that's what charity is all about. But I had a friend of mine that used to say the best way to help the poor is not to be among them. Right. So first we have to concentrate on ourselves. If we can get ourselves in a good position, then we're in a position to help others. And what's really wonderful about this program that you will see as we go through the presentation, this is really a community where everyone is helping everyone become successful. And all you have to do is become part of the community. And you'll see it, you'll feel it, you'll see that we're attracting people of the same kind of mentality, which is really a great thing to see. So let's get started. To start with, it is a capital raising opportunity here, which is important because it's hard to do anything without capital. And it's also a technology play. And I say technology because we use the latest, greatest technology to make it easy for us to be able to accomplish our goals together. Now, we're using blockchain. Many of you may not know what blockchain is. You may have heard of it. But if you don't know, I would recommend going to TED Talk and pulling up one of the explanations or presentations on blockchain. You will find out that this could be one of the most important technologies ever to come about. Some are saying it's even more impactful than the internet itself. So the fact that we have that is an amazing thing. For those of you that are not familiar with it, basically blockchain is an immutable accounting system. It cannot be hacked. It's more secure than the SWIFT system that banks use. And for that reason, many people and businesses are moving toward the blockchain because of the safety and security that it maintains. Now, when I say large companies, I'm talking some of the biggest companies in the world: BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, and many, many others. I was involved with a company last year that tokenized $60 billion worth of their assets because it was easier to function as a business. It was safer. They were able to borrow money easier. I mean, it was just an all-around good move. Now, that may be great for huge companies, but what about you and me? Well, most of us will see big advancements in blockchain in the coming years. Pink slips for your cars, your ownership papers for your cars, your trucks, your boats, etc., will all be on the blockchain. Virtually any asset of any kind can be tokenized and put in a place where it's on the blockchain for safety. But for our conversation today, the most important thing is number seven. If you remember, not that long ago, about 100 years ago, there was a great depression that happened all over the world, and it caused banks around the world to go out of business. And so what did people do at that time? Technology was very limited. So what they did was they took their cash, whatever they could get out of the bank and any new money that they had, and they put it in their mattress because they felt like at least if they had the money in their mattress, it was safe, it was private, and it was totally in their control. Well, blockchain is kind of the same thing, but it's using technology that we have available to each and every one of us today. So being able to put something, an asset of some kind, somewhere that only you are in control of, it's like having your money in a virtual mattress, if you will, because nobody can get it, nobody can take it from you. And if you're looking at what's happening in the world today, globally, with banks, failing, we've seen it in our lifetime. Back in 2008, 9, and 10, we had situation where the whole world was in a financial collapse and banks were failing everywhere. And even recently, in the last few years, we've seen some of the biggest banks in the world become insolvent. So that puts all of the money in jeopardy. So wouldn't it be great, given what's happening in the world today, not just with all of those failures, but also with the fact that a lot of countries are now moving towards a digital currency for their own country. And we just don't know what that's going to mean. There's a lot of speculation on what that will allow governments to do, et cetera. But wouldn't it be great if you could have something set aside that only you know about, only you have access to, and is completely secure for those rainy days, those rainy months, or if something really wacky happens, you're taken care of. And that's the beauty of what we're doing here with the blockchain. Now, another concept that I want you to think about as we get started on our presentation today is leverage. And when we think of leverage, usually we think about it from a monetary standpoint. We realize that banks, world banks, insurance companies, financial markets, et cetera, all use leverage to try to put themselves in a better financial position. But what if you can't? What if you don't have any money to leverage? There is something else that you can leverage, and that's called credibility and influence. And credibility and influence, I call your personal currency, right? Each one of us has a different level, right? I call it pull power, the ability to influence other people. I have some people I can call and they'll get on a plane from the other side of the world, fly over here to find out what I'm doing. But I also have people across the street that I can't get them to look at it, right? Because I don't have pull power with them. I don't have influence, credibility with those people. But the ones I do have, I can influence them to look at things, consider things, etc. And even that is at different levels. Some people will get on a plane, some people will get on a call, some people will read something, some people will talk to me about it on the phone. All of these are different levels of credibility and influence. Now, we've all seen it work in another way because we've seen celebrities being able to do that, right? They lend their face, their voice, their body to different products and services, and many times they make millions of dollars from doing that. Best example of that is Michael Jordan in my book. They did a movie about it a few years ago, and they explained how, when he was yet a teenager, his mother negotiated a contract with Nike, and it ended up paying him $400 million a year, right? Just for his credibility and influence, much more than he was making playing basketball. And long after he put his basketball up for good, he still had that income coming in, even today. So what an amazing thing that can be. Now, you and I may not be Michael Jordan, but all of us have a certain amount of influence and credibility. But if you want to turn that credibility and influence into cash, there has to be a financial or a business transaction that takes place, just like in the case of Michael Jordan. Without the business transaction with Nike, the money wouldn't be there. So when you're considering what product you want to represent, the quality of that product is very important. So here, our product is capital. And I think that's a great thing to be representing because, after all, that's what makes the world go round. Everywhere you go, you need capital. I used to say, money doesn't mean anything to me personally, but everybody around me is obsessed by it, right? You think about going to a dealership and saying, I love this car, I'd like to take it home. They will chase you if you don't give them money for it, right? They'll come after you. So money is really important to everyone. You can't get anywhere or do anything. And the other thing you need to look at along with that is the people behind the deal. Contracts are only as good as the people who sign them. I can tell you that as a contractor myself. So you look at who's behind this deal. If you look at any organization, I don't care if it's a foundation, a corporation, LLC, or any other of these kinds of corporations that are around the world or organizations that are around the world, the personality of that organization is established by the people that make up the organization, especially the leadership. So I'm proud to say that Lynn Theobald, who is really the mastermind behind this, who really put this whole thing together, is a brilliant guy. He's got decades of experience. I've gotten to know him very well over the last 9 months, and I think he's a wonderful guy, very, very generous when you consider that he's doing all of this for us. This is a legacy for him. And this is not a company where he's making money on everybody that's here. He's a member just like you and I, but he has spent exorbitant amount of time and money to put this together for all of us. And I'd say that's a master class in generosity. So and what happens is, as we know, people surround themselves with people just like them. So that generous concept, that generous feeling and personality is extended to the other people that he brought involved and got involved into the system. And that has spread throughout the whole organization. Just like having an organization that's developed by people who's got malintent, and usually everybody there is greedy and has bad intents, that becomes the personality of that organization. And also, when you have an organization that starts off with the best of intentions, really giving spirit, and everybody involved is very generous and helpful and helping everybody else, that becomes the personality of the organization. And you will see the longer you're here that that's exactly what's happening here at Barnage. Now, from a practical point of view, we have to realize that we're not working very efficiently individually. Why I say that is regardless of how much income you're making right now, if you're working at a job trading time for money, it's not very efficient because whether you're making $20 an hour or $500 an hour, if you're working for somebody else, they have to be charging triple that in order for them to pay the cost of having you employed and to make a profit. So you're only getting about 30% of what your real value is, what your billable time is, if you will. So not working very efficiently. So if you're like me, I said, well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to work for somebody else. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Well, that's great, but the numbers are actually even worse because as a general contractor, I can tell you back when I had to bring $18 in the front door to take one home. A dentist friend of mine had to bring $14 to $15 in the front door to take one home. Those numbers right now are much higher than that. But when you think about that, all that money that you had to bring home or bring in the front door to take one home, and then the government gets half of the one that you take home. Now, think about that for a minute. If you had a car and you had a tank of gas, say $100 worth of gas in the car, and on the way home, half of it leaked out, how long would you put up with that? I mean, you wouldn't put up with that for 5 minutes. You'd pull over right away, have the car towed, and have it repaired. And yet, that's exactly what's happening to us because the government's getting half of what we bring home in taxes of all kinds, right? So that's not working very efficiently. But what we're doing here by leveraging is we're actually getting paid so much more and we're generating donations from so many more people than we could ever do ourselves, as you will see as we progress through this presentation. So, we know that times are tough right now. We have here in the United States, inflation is going at about 25%, average wages increasing only by 12. So people are losing, 10 to 12% of their buying power every single year that goes by. And for those who are on fixed incomes, where those incomes aren't going up, it becomes really tragic for so many. And so people, remembering that we just came out of a crisis here with COVID, where people's, businesses that they have had for maybe 20, 30 years and some longer have just disappeared overnight. There's actually in the United States 2.7 million people that have never recovered from that, still not recovered, still not employed. So it's disastrous for so many. And yet, what are they doing with it? In the United States, as an example, people are doing really extraordinary things like spending money on lottery tickets. In the United States alone, it's $105 billion every year spent on lottery tickets. It's, I believe, what people are doing because they're in such a jam financially. They're hoping that this will be a shortcut to wealth, a shortcut to being able to get out of their financial condition. But the reality is that's just a daydream. $2 billion of those and the monies that people put into the lottery are never even claimed when won. So it shows that people aren't even paying attention. They're so used to losing, they don't even check. But we understand why it's that way because the situation overall is very drastic. 43% of women are actively worried about money at least once a day. 59% do so at least once a week. Why do I put this stat about women? Because women spend 90% of all the funds that are in the household. They're the homemaker. They're the ones that are buying all the food and clothing all the kids and doing all of that. And that's half the population, if you think about it, are worried about money. If you've got that going on, guess what's happening to the other half? They're also worried about money because they're the ones that are having to provide it or receive it. So it's an ongoing problem, right? And in the stats here in the United States is that regardless of how much you're making, whether you're making 50,000 a year, 150,000, or even 250,000, you're still moving paycheck to paycheck. And that's hard to believe for people making 50. Can't understand why people making 250 are still going paycheck to paycheck. It's just that the bills are higher. The cars are more expensive, the house is more expensive, everything's more expensive. Right? So it's been very difficult. And the truth is, here in the United States, that $400 is all that separates somebody from being financially solvent in a month to being upside down. So it doesn't take very much to make a very powerful impact on people's overall psyche, on their ability to get through the month. And we can provide that in spades right off the bat. And as they move through this, they are in a position where they can change their lives financially forever. So we know that life is 10% what you experience, but 90% how you respond to it. And that's an important fact. I've seen and worked with people for many, many years, and I find that so many are stuck doing the same thing over and over again, 20 years, 30 years, and expecting major differences. And the truth is that doesn't work anymore. There is no golden watch at the end of 40 years. I mean, many people have already learned that that doesn't work. So I used to do a training. It was called If the Horse is Dead, Dismount. Right? Sometimes you got to look at the horse you're riding and say, is this really going to get me somewhere? I have a lot of people that have told me, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. I said, well, you don't have 30 years experience. You have 1 year experience 30 times. You're really not growing as an individual, not allowing yourself to grow. Because if you're comfortable, then nothing's going to change for you. You've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to get out of that rut, try and do something new and different. Today's economy is changing everything. Right now, in the United States alone, 4,000 jobs every single day are being lost to AI. So you think about that for a minute. And that's just the start. That's going to be impacting everybody globally. When should you be worried about it? When you get a pink slip, when you realize that your position is gone? Or should you be worried about it today? Planning for it today. And I can tell you right now, you should be worried about it. As a CEO of many companies over the years, I have found that I need to have the problem resolved before it becomes a problem. If I need people, employees to accomplish a goal, I don't wait until it's costing me money as a company to solve that problem. I bring the employees in early. I get them there so it never becomes a problem. And that's what you need to do now. Individually, each household needs to start thinking about what am I doing personally to put myself in a safer position because the world is changing faster than we've ever seen it in human history. So we here at Barnage have an answer for those problems. We have a private capital raising platform. Operative word here is private. Why is that so important? Because you can do things in a private organization you can't do in a public one. The name Barnage comes from the Amish term for barn raising. And it's the same kind of a spirit that we're going to be putting together here at Barnage. Now, the Amish, if you're unfamiliar with them, they're a religious group that dates back many, many years, centuries actually, and they're famous for building barns in 1 or 2 days. Now, I can tell you from personal experience as a builder myself that to accomplish that goal is not easy. That requires a tremendous amount of cooperation or synergy, if you will, in order to accomplish that. Egos have to be set at the door and everybody working together. And if you've ever seen the Amish do this, it's quite amazing. I mean, you may have 50 or 60 carpenters on the barn working on it to get it done very quickly. And I can tell you, I built multi-million dollar homes. And I've never had that many carpenters on a job because they can't afford to do it. But what's happening here is they're all showing up. They're bringing their time, their know-how, their tools, their labor, all of this to accomplish for this one family what they could not do on their own. Very important concept to understand. Because if that one family had to build a barn by themselves, it may never happen. But the community coming together and everyone working together and generously supplying all that's needed to get that done is an incredible thing to watch. Now, I will tell you, it's not just the men that are showing up. Sure, all the men are there to do that work, but their wives are there too. And they're making sure everybody's well fed, well watered. They're making sure that first aid is taken care of. The kids are all there. They're learning. All of this is happening. And reciprocity comes into play because when you may have been working on many, many barns, maybe you're a young man or a young lady who's been at all these barns that are being done every year, and now it's time for your barn to get done. What happens? Everybody that you've helped shows up to help build your barn. Not just your barn, but people that have yet to have a barn built are also showing up to help you get yours done. It's an amazing thing to watch, and it's something that we do here extremely well. Now, I'm going to introduce you to this innovative way to raise funds. And this is for each and every one of our own projects, our metaphorical barn, if you will. We all have different things that we need to get accomplished. We've probably dreamed about some things for a long, long time. Some of us have already accomplished our dream, and somebody took the dream away. It became a nightmare. But we'd like to build the barn again. We'd like to do it again, maybe a different way, maybe a different field, but we're anxious because that's the way we are. We're people that build things. And we're all here as like-minded people. We're all trying to do the same thing, accomplish the same thing together instead of by ourselves. And one of the most important thing is that we're doing it in an online private community. What does that do for us? Well, the Amish are relegated to a certain regional area. That's it. That's as far as they can go. They can't really do a whole lot more. I will tell you that the Amish did get involved when we had these hurricanes recently, and they were bused to certain areas, and they worked to help build small, tiny homes for people. Again, trying to help people and be a community-minded group, but they're very limited. We're not. When we're online, think of there's billions of people out there. Not everybody's going to do something like this, but you know there are hundreds of millions of people around the world that would love to be a part of what we're doing here because they need their barns built. They have the desire, they have the ability, they have the contacts, and they're ready to go. All we have to do is contact them. Now, one of the things that's important to know is that we are not here at Barnage as registered brokers, dealers. We're not investment advisors because there's no investment here. We're not public crowdfunding. We're not MLM or network marketing. I will say that if you have that experience, we are attracting a lot of people that have experience in network marketing and MLM, and that's an advantage to you. If you have that experience, you obviously have a network. You're not afraid to pick up the phone and talk to people. That's a huge advantage here. But please understand that this is not network marketing. It does the donations don't come in a way that it would like in a network marketing company. So you really have to take the time to understand how this works. And once you understand it, once you get it, you'll understand how really remarkable it is. I know for myself, just like Ahmed mentioned, it took a little while to understand it. I'm really good at this kind of thing. Like Amit is very good at these kinds of things. You would think we would pick it up in a day. And to tell you the truth, I thought I did, but I didn't. It took me several weeks before I fully understood what was going on here. And I'm telling you, when that light came on, it was like, wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Nothing like it ever done before. So it's important to understand that nothing here is investment advice. We're not asking you to invest in anything or any security in any way, shape, or form. So how do we do this? Well, we use what's called a EULA. It stands for End User License Agreement. License here is the operative word. Now, we've seen these before. If you've got a phone, if you got a computer, if you got apps, every time you sign up for one of these things, what happens? This thing pops up that you've got to read and sign or claim that you read it. 99% of people don't read them. They just don't have time. And when they do try to read them, they don't understand it because it's written in legalese. That's that's done on purpose. It's a different language, and even lawyers who read it still don't understand what they're trying to say. And that's done on purpose because they don't want you to know what they're going to do with the information, who they're going to sell it to, or how much of your private information they're giving up. You'll be happy to know that here at Barnage, we are transparent. So our EULA is written in plain English. It's very easy to understand. It takes just a few minutes to read it if you choose to do so. But basically what it says is that each of us are privately, virtually, and voluntarily contracting with each other to raise funds together. And we do it without banks, savings and loans, or anything like that, because those kinds of institutions, they want to lend you money and then you have to pay it back and you have to pay interest. None of the donations that you receive here do you ever have to pay back, and there's no interest applied in any way, shape, or form. So we use this EULA to work through the distribution of funds, and these EULAs are accepted virtually in every country of the world. When it comes to your project, you'll be happy to know that there is nobody at Barnage that has to approve whatever it is that you want to do with the funds that you receive. It's totally up to you. Your project is your project. You don't have to submit what you're going to do with it, any cost breakdowns, any of those kinds of things are not required here. But we have a dozen examples of projects here, but it could be 100 long. But it's been my experience that the first thing people need to do is just get out and under the pressure of being financially challenged. So I would suggest that maybe your first mini project, if you will, could be just getting 6 months income in a reserve for yourself. Okay, so that you can think and operate properly. Now, once you've got that pressure off, you're going to be able to think freely about what your next move is, what your next big project is. Now, you may already have an idea of what that is, but let's give you a short-term project to just get financially okay, and then we work on the next big project. But for example, let me just point out a couple of these here. Our most popular one is retirement plan. And that's obvious because baby boomers, 80% don't have any retirement plan at all. So that's a pretty precarious position to be in. I can tell you myself, I'm in that stage. So I can tell you that the people around me that are my age are worried about what happens over the next few years. You know, the foundation of uh, financial activities within different countries and around the world are very precarious, and they don't know if they're going to have the funds to be able to handle it. And that's understandable because today, when you're 70 plus years old, nobody was looking to hire you. I mean, you've got to do something independent. And that's a tragic and very difficult position to be in. And out of those 20% that do have a retirement plan, half of that is just a survival plan. It's not really a retirement plan like we dreamed we would have when we were in our 30s or 40s, that golden parachute, if you will. Those are long gone. So even if you had saved up, many people find themselves in a position where they've borrowed money against their retirement or they've given it to their kids or whatever. But right now, looking not so good. Wouldn't it be great if you could repair that, turn that survival plan into a thriving plan where you can do all those things that you really dreamed about doing, traveling the world, helping other people, doing whatever it is that you wanted to do. And even if you're in a position where you say, okay, I'm fine, I don't have any issues with my retirement, 80% of the people are in that precarious situation. Wouldn't it be great to offer them a lifeline to be able to change that for them? Medical support is another one of those things that is very common where people are, there's problems in the family. You've got aged parents that you now have to take care of. You may have a problem with somebody in your family or even yourself where you need help financially. The insurance doesn't cover everything. I was just seeing another one just the other day where they finally got a cure, they feel, for a horrible disease. It just costs $100,000 a month for the pills. I mean, so even if there's something there that could help you, it's out of reach. Wouldn't it be great that if you could put something together where you could take care of that for yourself? And even in anticipation of potential problems in the future. How about that business endeavor you've always wanted to do? Or real estate, where you've wanted to buy real estate for the first time, or if you're somebody that would like to pay off the real estate that you have. These are very powerful reasons. And you really have to be successful here, you have to have real emotion around whatever that project is. You got to be serious about it. So many people are starters. We're looking for people that are finishers, people that say, okay, I'm just not going to start this. I'm going to work it till I get it done. And that's the difference between success and failure for so many people, is just having that determination to get it done. Okay. So Barnage is similar to other DAOs. It doesn't have a footprint in any one country. I'll talk more about this in a moment. But basically, we're in deregulated space out there, along with tens of thousands of other organizations like this. There's literally tens of thousands of DAOs out there as well. But here's the most important part. We don't have any central coffer that holds the funds. Barnage is not holding the funds. What we're doing here is Barnage is allowing us to work peer to peer, one to another, to be able to help each other. And Barnage does not charge anything for that. So they're not holding any of the funds. There's no joint or community funds here where everybody's funds are in one account. Because when you look at some of the other programs that have been out there, there's nothing been like this, but there's been other, promising you the world. You come with us and give us your money, we'll make you 2% a day, 3% a day, whatever it is that they promise you. And then when they can't do it, then they just take all the money and run. right? Because they have all the money in one account. There's no commingled accounts here with Barnage, and everything is peer-to-peer, done through a smart contract via the EULA that takes care of all these distributions seamlessly and without any human interference. And examples of DAOs, there's lots of them out there. I mean, the state of Wyoming is advertising like crazy to get DAOs to start there. They're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And Bitcoin is actually not a DAO, but I'm going to talk about that for just a minute. When that first started, people think Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. Actually, it was not. There were several other before that. One of my friends actually did one. He's a very famous guy. I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he had a coin that he started 2 years before Bitcoin. It was basically the same thing. Why did his not succeed and Bitcoin did? One simple reason: timing. Right? When Bitcoin was released, there was a worldwide financial crisis that was going on. Bitcoin facilitated people in many countries whose currencies were dropping like a rock to be able to stop that and save themselves a fortune. Okay, that's why Bitcoin was successful, because of timing. And I will tell you, fundamentally, I will take good timing over talent anytime. I want to repeat that. I'll take timing, over talent anytime, because there's lots of people who were not talented that became part of Bitcoin, and they've been massively successful as a result. And I can tell you that it was a good idea that came about at the right time. And what we are here with Barnage, we are a great idea coming about at the right time, which is why we've already got 20,000 people involved with this in a very short period of time, growing internationally. Okay, very powerful information. So if you're here for the first time, you're probably wondering, did I miss a page? What's a DAO? So DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now I'm going to get back to not being decentralized in one country, right? When we were talking about that a slide ago. So for example, let's say that Barnage decided that they were going to have their main office in Los Angeles, California. So then they're centralized because their office is in Los Angeles. So they've got to go by the rules and regulations of Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County and California State and the United States of America. So all kinds of nonsense regulation that they have to deal with. But if you don't have one there and you have it somewhere else, right, another country, you have the same issue. You're centralized to a country having to deal with all of the rules and regulations established in that country. We are not. We are decentralized, meaning that we are on 2,000 nodes around the internet, and we are not centralized anywhere, which means that we don't have any regulations that we have to deal with. Okay, so we're in deregulated space, along with tens of thousands of other organizations. We're also autonomous, right? Both the wallets that we recommend that we use here and ourselves at Barnage, we're autonomous, meaning that we don't ask for KYC. What is KYC? Know your customer. That's what banks do. So if you wanted to go to a bank and open up an account, you have to provide, your driver's license, your passport, a utility bill. You have, your fingerprint, your signature, all of these things just to get started. And many times that can take a week or two, and especially in online situations, because they are not autonomous. We don't require any of that. Now, some have said, are you doing that because you're trying to cheat on your taxes? We have people from all over the world that are on this call. Any advice that I would give you on what you have to do with taxes would not be applicable for 90% of the people that are on this call. So we don't talk about that. But you are responsible for whatever the rules and regulations are in your country. So when you start to make money, it's up to you how you handle that. I would ask that you get a professional in that world, in your jurisdiction, to work that out. But the most important thing here is that blockchain, right? You're building an asset on the blockchain, and it's growing, and you're in control of it, and it's private. Okay, those are the main points here. So what else do you get if you become part of Barnage? Well, the first thing you have to do is agree to the contract, and then you become a member of Barnage, but not just a member. You actually are part of Barnage because the DAO is owned and operated by all the members here. Okay, so that's important to know. And then you also get a project funding platform. Now, what is required to get this access to this project funding platform? A donation. Now, that donation is not to Barnage. this is really an interesting thing. It's not to Barnage because Barnage is not taking any money from you. Okay, so the donation is to a fellow member here at Barnage. And for doing that, you have access now to a project funding platform. And the only restriction really for you, for the most part, is just that you don't go out there do mass emailing or social media advertising using any of the information from Barnage, because this is a private platform. And we want to guard who's invited. So it's an invitation only opportunity. And you also get a private back office tracking system that allows you to see everything that's happening, because we want you to know that everything is transparent. You see every donation you make, every donation you receive is all tracked for you. You don't have to track it separately. And in addition to all of that, that system, by the way, is very robust. You also get a personal development training program that is provided to you by Lynn Theobald himself that you get to try out and see if that's something that will help you. But in addition to that, you have other people like myself and many others who have kind of been there, done that. And we've got trainings available to tell you exactly what to do, step by step and word for word, what to say to actually become a superstar here, to get you started and see what happens and see how you can ultimately get your barn built. And here's the best part of it, demonstrating generosity. Once again, all of this costs you nothing. If it was a company I was running, I'd be saying, let's try to, we got to get income here. Let's charge $25 a month or $50 a month because it's worth it. I can tell you that it's worth it. But it's done absolutely free for you to enjoy. So we also empower individuals to engage in private activities and contractual agreements while upholding your rights and freedoms. Now, these rights and freedoms are the right and freedom of contract to actually do business. And it's enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, but also in common law virtually around the world. And it's one of those things that dates back all the way to the Magna Carta. Now, if you think about it, if you could imagine you've got somebody over here that wants to build a restaurant. Somebody over here wants to build an animal shelter. Somebody that has a health challenge that they're trying to raise the money to get taken care of. Somebody else wants to buy a house. Somebody else wants to buy, a very expensive instrument, right? Whatever their barns are. If they're out there by themselves, that's a difficult proposition to do. But imagine if they could come together to one place where they have cutting edge technology to help people that are all trying to do the same thing, where we can come together, support one another, and mutually benefit each other. Wouldn't that be a great thing? And that's exactly what Barnage is. It helps us peer to peer work together to accomplish all of our goals together, and they don't charge anything for it. Okay. Really amazing. So, how do you get started? How does this happen? Well, it starts off by having a donation of 350 in USDT. Now, depending on where you live in the world, that may cost a different amount of money to get that 350 USDT, but the equivalent of 350 USD, United States dollars, is what it typically takes to get that USDT. Once you have that, you then make that donation into the community through the person that invited you. And then the smart contract will immediately distribute those funds, not to Barnage, but to the person that introduced you. That gets back to what I was telling you before. To get started here, to really benefit here, you have to start by helping somebody else. Okay. Really great philosophy. So we use USDT. It's a smart asset-backed cryptocurrency stablecoin paid to the US dollar. Now, it's important to understand that we're doing this not because we're telling you buy stablecoin USDT because it's going to go up in value, because it won't. If you bought $10,000 worth today, tomorrow, next year, next week, it's still going to be $10,000. So it's not a good investment, right? But why are we using it? Because we have people all over the world that are participating with us. And no matter where they come from, they have to use their currency to get involved. Imagine if they were sending all that money to Salt Lake City in their currency, and then in Salt Lake City, we've got to exchange that and see what the exchange rate is. And by the way, that all costs money depending on where you are. Sometimes it's not expensive, sometimes it's really expensive. Imagine if we had to do that both with money coming in, money going out. It would be insurmountable for the DAO to do by itself. Remember, they're not charging anything from anybody to be here. So, they wouldn't even have the funds to be able to do that. So how do you eliminate that as a problem? You create a currency or you find a currency that can work exclusively in this organization. Well, we're using USDT. Now, USDT, Barnage has no relationship with the organization or company that provides it. It is just the currency that we're using here. Okay. And that makes it easy because it's available globally. It does 10 billion plus every single day in trading all over the world. Easy to get, easy to sell, easy to buy. It's almost like going to Europe. And if I'm in Paris, what do I have to do? I have to, do all my transactions in euros. If I go to England, I got to do it in pounds. If you come to the United States, you've got to do it in USD. Here at Barnage, we have to do it in USDT. Okay, that's the simple reason for it. So once you've made your donation, then the smart contract takes over and executes the transaction. What does that mean? What is a smart contract? Well, that's new technology that started back in 2009, and it allows through a smart contract to be able to do all the paperwork, if you will, or all the accounting that has to be done that normally you would have to have a whole team of people to do, and a county department, commission department, whatever you want to call it, would have to go through it, would take days, and who knows when you'd get paid. But it's done automatically through the smart contract, and it's paid out literally in seconds, which is fantastic. It's all automated. It takes care of all the heavy lifting, both for Barnage and for us individually to track all of this stuff. It's perfect. So if I get a donation in Spain, right, that's coming to me, then I could be asleep when he makes that donation, but literally 8 to 10 seconds later, it's in my wallet. That's how fast it happens. And the best part is it's all done without any human interaction, interference, or even the ability to manipulate it in any way. Okay, really a powerful way to go. So now you're in. You made your donation. That went to the person that invited you, right? So all is good. Now, we'll help you share this presentation with 4 people that you care about or one like it, right? Now, when I say 4 people, you're not limited to 4 people. You could bring 400 people over time, right? That would be perfectly fine. But let's not get to ridiculous numbers. Let's do something that's really simple. Anybody can do. If you're focused on it for a couple of days, everybody could get it done. So, and again, these people need to be serious people. We're not looking for people to just show up, sit on a bale of hay, and watch somebody else build their barn. We're looking for people that are serious about getting their project accomplished, are willing to put in the time and the effort to do it. We'll talk about what that's required here in just a moment. But once you have those people that are emotionally committed and are going to make it happen, it makes this all so much simpler. Okay. As more donations flow to your project, first, let me back up 1 second. I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. When you find your 4 people, the first 2 that become part of your organization, the 350 that they donated will come to your project. Okay, that's the point I wanted to make. And then as more donations flow to your project, a portion of those funds automatically go and flow to the person that introduced you. And then theirs to the person that introduced them, and so on. And it creates what we call a high velocity circulation of capital. Now, when I first heard that term, it wasn't a familiar term to me. I thought it was just talking about how fast people would become part of the organization, but that's not what it means. And this is the part that usually takes a while to fully understand and get what's going on. Because what happens as you have donations coming in and you use it the way we're using it, right? You're flowing the way, helping other people. What happens is those circulation of those initial donations starts to grow, and it becomes really fantastic. Now, as Almut already mentioned, we're talking about something that takes a while to fully understand. I wouldn't expect you to understand it the first time you see it. So you need to watch it once or twice, maybe talk to the person that's brought you here, and they can help you, or someone else can help you understand more. But here's one thing I can tell you. It doesn't matter if you understand it or not. The smart contract, if you do the activity, is going to pay you anyway. One of the things it doesn't do is check to see if you understand it. It just pays you. And I can tell you more often than not, people that even think they understand it start receiving donations and they're going, how did I get that donation? Where'd that come from? And then that's how you learn how it really works. So this is the table. Now, again, we have trainings that we do on a regular basis that go through a very deep dive on how this works. It takes a couple hours. It's 134 slides. So it's not, it goes into the grassroots on this thing. So that's available for those who want to get that kind of information. But let me just give you a brief overview. So as you can see, there's 7 floors here that you're going to be building. Not just you by yourself, but as a team, both the people above you and the people below you are all working on this together. So over time, you're going to make 21 donations, and those donations are going to total about $67,000. You've already made the first 3 at 350 when you first came in. Now, you're probably saying, wait a minute, I thought you said it was only 350 out of pocket one time. That is true. It is still only 350 out of pocket one time. I only put 350 myself, and yet I'm way down here on the diamond level. So I can tell you it doesn't take any more than 350 to make this happen. So where does this other money come from? It comes from 760 donations over here that are coming your way. So you're making 21, receiving 760. That's a good ratio, I'd say. That means that you have an excess of donations. And when that excess builds for you, you can then move swiftly through these 7 floors, making these donations. And then you're done making donations. Okay? So let's walk through it. You came in, you did your 350, you find your first 2 of the 4 that you're going to bring in, and that's 350 times 2 is $700. What happens to the $700? You'll see that it's 100%, 700, right? So no part went to Barnaje, no part went to a guy named Ponzi, unless your last name is Ponzi. And by the way, Ponzi's are illegal programs done by criminals, right? You're going to see that in a typical Ponzi, they take all the money. You're going to see exactly where the money's going. So it's just because it's in this configuration does not mean it's illegal, nor does it mean that it's a Ponzi. Okay. A lot of people just see something and their brain just goes there. But the reality is everything in the world is in a pyramid structure, including your own family, right? So let's see what happens to this money. So you now have $700. It's double what you put in, and that came from donations received, right? So you now go over here to the second floor. You make these first 2 donations, 300 and 400. Question is, why would you do that? You just got double your money. Why don't you quit right now? Well, it's totally up to you. You could quit. We recommend that you carry on because of the following reasons. In order for you to receive additional donations of 300, 400, 600, you must first make the donation. The receiving process starts by giving. So you make this first donation on the second floor of 300 and 400 with the 700 that you have. And the good news is we automate that for you so that it happens automatically for you. So once this is done and these people start to duplicate, this other 600 gets taken care of for a total of 1,300 on the second floor. So you've made this $1,300 donation, and here's the good news. You get it back 4 times. Okay, so you're going to have 4 donations of 1,300, which is $5,200. And what's going to happen with that is you're going to get half, 2,600. Half is going to go to the person that brought you in. You're going to bless them with 1,300, and the person that brought them in, you're going to bless with 1,300. These are people you know, right? So all of the money, 100% of it is going to you, the person that brought you in, person that brought them in, and that continues all the way through. Okay, no Ponzi guy, no Barnaje, none of that. Okay, now what happens? Well, you receive some more money, and you can now go to the third floor and you start making these donations. Again, coming from excess donations coming to you, you make this $4,200 donation on this floor, and then you receive it 8 times. That's 33,600, of which 16,800 is going into your wallet, 8,400 and 8,400 going into both your 2 sponsors. And again, you're blessing these 2 people that helped you get here in the first place. Now you've received like $20,000, so it's doing very well. You only put in 350. You're way ahead of the game, right? You haven't put any money in your pocket yet because you're working the system. You're allowing it to build so the excess and the amounts of these donations start to increase. So you go to the 4th floor, making these 3 donations totaling 7,800, and you receive it back 16 times. Where can you go to receive donations of 16 times what you donated? Nowhere, right? How much is that? Well, that's nearly 125,000, of which you get 62 for your sponsor and their sponsor picking up 31.2 each. Okay. Now you're on fire. You now have enough to be able to start taking some of the funds out to get yourself in a position where you're financially secure, you're not worried about money anymore. Now what can you do? You now go to the fifth floor because you certainly have enough to be able to start making these donations, which total 12,000. And then you're happy about that because you're going to get back 32 times. That's almost $400,000, almost 200 going to your wallet, almost 100,000 going to each your sponsor and their sponsor's wallet. This is life-changing money. You're now working on your big project, right? Now what happens? You still have enough left over to be able to start making these donations totaling 16.5 because you're going to get it 64 times back, over $1 million, over $500,000 to you, 250,000 plus to your sponsor and their sponsor. Right now, how fast is this going to happen? It depends on the people you bring in. You bring in fast people, it goes fast. You bring in slow people, it goes slow. There's some people who will do this in a day, literally. There's some people who do 10 times this in a day. That's going to happen. Watch it. It'll happen. But what happens now? I mean, financially, you got plenty of cash to do your project, right? And you can still have enough to finish this up at 25,000, and you're going to receive that 128 times. That's 3.2 million, 1.6 in your wallet, and 800,000 going into each your sponsor and their sponsor's wallet. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Some are thinking, well, not everybody's going to get 4 people, and that's true. Some will get 3, some will get 2, some will get 1, some will get none. But some will get 20, some will get 50, some will get 30, some will get 400 over time, right? So I would say that this ultimately will happen at some point for you, right? But when is debatable. But let's just say for conversation, let's find out what it would pay for you in donations. Well, here, this is received by you, just building this organization alone, 2.4 million. Now remember, you brought 4 people in, so you got to take this number. You're getting half of what they got. So that's 1.2 times 4, it's another 4.8 million. And then you go, if they got 4, right, which is the idea, and then you're going to pick up another 1.2 million times 16 people. The total is 26 million. Now you're really saying this, Karl, this sounds like it's too good to be true. Well, let me tell you something about too good to be true. Too good to be true happens every single day, tens of thousands of times. But it only happens to people that believe in themselves and believe in what they're doing and move, take action. The fact that you're here tells me that you're on the right track, right? Because you're looking, you're listening, you're open. But if you stand still, even if you're on the right track, you get run over. So knowing about it is one thing, doing something about it is quite different. Now, I can tell you where I live in Beverly Hills. Everything around me says too good to be true, everywhere. Okay. I mean, I've experienced that my whole life. When I was very young, I was in my 20s, I was building multi-million-dollar custom homes. Everybody around me told me I couldn't do it, but I was, and I did for 30 years. And then I got involved with the internet when it first started. Nobody knew what was going to happen with the internet, right? Most people not even heard about it. I spent a lot of money and time to get educated on it. Ended up becoming the president of a .com company, and everybody around me was having too good to be true happening to them right and left. It was a huge opportunity that was going on, but not everybody took advantage of it. A lot of people didn't know I mean, even myself, when I first was looking at it, I was saying, why would you write an email to somebody when you just pick up the phone and call them? Nobody knew that you could make money with emails. There weren't enough people to have them. The same thing with the whole idea of having a website in cyberspace where you're trying to send traffic. What does that mean? How can you send traffic? Now we accept it today like it's nothing, but when it first started, nobody knew what it was, right? But there were people at that time that invested in companies like Amazon and eBay, and their lives are too good to be true. Are they special people? No, they're regular folks, but they saw something and they took action. Same thing happened when Bitcoin first came out. When I first saw Bitcoin, I thought it was deja vu and amnesia at the same time. I thought it was the internet starting all over again. And I got involved. And everybody around me became very, very wealthy. And I did extremely well as well. And we have people all over the world. I can tell you, I know so many billionaires that are just regular people, but they took advantage of being in the right place at the right time, and too good to be true happened to them and everybody around them. So too good to be true happens every day. Okay. So let me just finish this thought up with this one last thing. If you have a direct sales background, how much and how many people would you have to have? How long would it take you to make $26 million? I can tell you that I've had a lot of experience in direct sales, and that's rare air, very rare air. And I would tell you that most people would have to have 500,000 people in their organization and work it for several decades to make that kind of money. And even then, you could do all of those things and still not have that kind of a return. I can tell you that what you can do here in 2 years would take you 10 or 15 years to do anywhere else. But let's just say it took you 5 years to accomplish this goal. That's a long time. And what if you got the 26? Wouldn't that be amazing for a $350 donation and get 26 million in donations in return? What if you got half that? What if you got half that? What if you got half of that? What if you got half of that? You're still in a position where you have more money than the average American makes in an entire lifetime. I mean, we're talking about a major opportunity here if you just take advantage of it. So look at it as a Go Fund Yourself program. Once you've made your first and only out-of-pocket donation of $350, really the heavy lifting is taken over by the smart contract. I mean, all you really have to do here is just expose the opportunity to people. Let the ones make their own decision about whether they want to do it or not. Not everybody's going to do it, but not everybody's not going to do it. There's going to be people that are going to see this and say, this is perfect for me, okay, and take advantage of it. So in summary, it's $350 one-time out-of-pocket donation. Additional donations are provided by other community members. Whether you're funding a 50, 150, or $500,000 program or project or higher, this could be the solution for you. And all you really need is a half a dozen people that are really serious with duplication to make it happen for you. And let me tell you how significant that can be. Just as an illustration, I have about 4,500 people, maybe more, on my team. I started off 9 months ago with just myself. So the only amount of effort or energy that was going into building my barn was whatever I was doing. But now, with 4,500 people, imagine if everyone was just spending 1 hour a day. That's 4,500 hours a day going into building my barn, but not just my barn. See, people above me take advantage of that as well. Everybody between me and the last person that signed up today in my organization are all are benefiting as we're building all of our barns together. It's truly a community build. Everybody wins. I can't get my barn built if nobody on my team has barns right behind me. I have some people that have their barns already built around me that have been even in my organization. Okay, really, it's a fantastic system. So just as an example, if you just shared it with 4 people and it took 4 months to do it, meaning you got one good person every month for 4 months. These are people that are serious, want to do it. And they just duplicated the same effort, getting one person a month for 4 months. This is the number you'd have in the first year. Now, I can tell you that's significant. You're talking about the top 5% in the whole country of the United States. When you're talking about this kind of money, it's more money than the average doctor, lawyer, stockbroker, real estate agent makes, even full time, right? So it's significant. Think about all the money that people have spent. They've spent this kind of money for education. They're still not making that in the chosen career. I know people that have really good jobs, very good careers, and been doing it for 20, 30 years, don't make half what we're talking about here. So look at what you're required to do. How much effort and time do you have to put in? What's the return, right? You have to believe in yourself and believe in the system, because the great thing is all of it's happening real time as we speak. Other people are enjoying these benefits. So when it comes time for you to fund your project, it's easy to convert the USDT back to your local currency. You know, USDT is universal. I mean, you can use it to buy a house, pay your taxes, buy cars. You can do lots with it. Most people don't realize that, but you can. But if you wanted to convert it back to your local currency, it's not a problem. Think about this. This is really one of the most brilliant things I think that they did with this program. You've got 200 people, a day coming in right now. So you got 200 people a day coming in. What do they need to participate? They need USDT. Now they can go try to buy it somewhere else, but why? We have so many people here that have excess donations that they would be happy to provide the 350 USD for these new people coming in. So there's a system put in place. It's called the Ticket to Ride, where if you're in need of the USDT, you just call the upline. You say, ask if it's available, and if it is, you send 350, however you need to send it, and then they will send you this Ticket to Ride, which then puts you in the system. Really simple, and that can happen in just a couple of minutes. So it's really a brilliant way to work through the system. Now, if you just did that once a day, that's $10,000 a month. For most people, you're handled. You're working on your major project. So it's coming for those that want to participate and stay focused. So we have the main matrix, which is what I've just explained for you, and it's something real that's actually working. I mean, we've been a year at it. We have $19 million plus that's been donated. We have the diamond matrix on the far right, which is something that's automated that multiplies in the background for you, and that's already generated over $2 million in donations, and it just started last month. And we have the raindrops, which is also for those who need fast money. That's a way for you to be able to benefit. So, and you're basically getting paid twice for doing the same effort, the basic effort to build your organization. So if you bring in two people that have projects that they want to get funded, and they each bring in two people, you've now qualified for raindrops, and you're getting bonuses that way. Really, it's a fantastic system. And we have all of this training available for you in the back office. So there's basically three questions that you have to answer. Do you feel like adding this additional capital to your finances will help you, or do you think it could help your family or your business? And do you want to belong to a community like this where the culture of the people here is all helping everyone so that everybody wins? Everybody that's working wins, okay? And then lastly, do you have the 350 to participate? Now, I've had some people say, I don't have 350. I said, guess what? Sell your TV. You'll have the time and the money. Do a garage sale. Do what you got to do to get in and participate. And it's been my experience that people who have sacrificed to get in do even better. So nothing's more expensive than a missed opportunity. And you've got a better chance of being hit by lightning than winning the lottery. So let's take that one off the list of possibilities. Imagine if you had bought Microsoft, Apple, or Bitcoin when you first heard of it. Many of us had those opportunities, but we didn't take advantage of it. So you see yourself now at a place where you could be an earlier adopter at Barnage, and I think if you're on this call, you're the type that would take advantage of it. And I believe this is one of those times where you don't want to miss it. You want to be a part of it, and you can participate today. You can get started with us today. So hopefully I've answered most of your questions. If you have any additional questions or want to get started, get back to the person that asked you to be here, and we'll happily get you started. And I want to thank you very much for your time and your attention. And we'll stop it here and go to questions and answers.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was amazing, Karl. Again, I learned some stuff. Especially did I like your expression legalese. Never heard that one before, but I've
Yeah,
learned really good things.
thank
Especially
you.
the story about Too Good to Be True.
Hmm.
And if you stand still on the right track, you'll be run over. That's so true. That is so freaking true. And that it's really good to get out of the comfort zone, especially these days where everything is pushing us out of the comfort zone, whether we want it or not. So I call that birthing pressure. There are no babies born without a little bit of pressure. It's a matter of,
Very good.
it is so. We just have to take it that way. Again, let's go into questions or testimonials, but I would love to see the hands of the newbies first, like who is very new here for the first time. And if you have a question, please use this icon here so we can see you better. And also show us your pretty face, like put on your video. because we're not here in an anonymous weirdo presentation or so. We're private, and it doesn't even matter if your hair is done or not. And if you're in the pajamas or not, it's totally fine. But, we sometimes even get to talk with each other here and get to know each other and have extra meetings. So it's good to see your face. So who's first? Is the dust still settling? There was a lot of information. I mean, it takes a moment.
It
Or
seemed
does
like Yvette
yeah.
had a question. Yvette, do you have a question?
Who did you see?
Yvette, let me unmute you here. Let's see.
Yes.
For some reason, I
Hello.
can't. There we
Ye-
go. There we go.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, when I came in and heard about it, I remarked that I all the time thought of is Telegram safe? Because I went off of Telegram, and of course, yeah. So this is the thing that came up, and when I see the presentation and the person that invited me, I trust very much, and I find this very, how to say, smart, but also nice to be creative and wanting to help each other. I mean, this is for the new age, what we want to do. It's like from the heart, being human. And when you use technology for being human, that's really great. So I like that, and I think it's really spot on with the time we're in, of course. But I have this little concern still, like, so I had little bit like, okay, I really want to investigate. And so, yeah, so that's the thing, the Telegram. What about that? And of course, you will say, yes, that's fear, or yeah, maybe you can help me a little bit with this.
Well, I'm not sure I understand your question totally, but I think what you're saying is, because there's a lot of communication done on Telegram, but it's not connected to anything that's happening at Barnage from the sense that nobody will know, anything about where your wallet is or anything like that because all of that is anonymous. So that's really important, and so we may talk individually, but that's not, we're talking individually. We're not giving people our usernames, et cetera, and all of
No.
that. So that helps with the security.
Thank you.
There are like WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups. We in Germany happen to have a Telegram group, and there's a Telegram channel, an official Barnage channel, but you don't need to use it. It's just fun because a lot of, personal exchange. We need some place to unite in
Yes.
either WhatsApp or Telegram. So we preferred Telegram over WhatsApp. It's as simple as that. And there's a ton of other things, but I think we can also kill ourselves being too excited about or too worried about all these little things and transparent or whatever can happen to our data or so. I believe they know everything anyways. So it doesn't really matter what they look into. To me, it's just, over and done with. So to me, I like Telegram, and that's how I see it. The group works well, and yeah, of course, you have to have your safety settings, and there's scammers all over the world, and things can happen, but I wouldn't worry about it so much. And again, most important is what Karl said. It has nothing to do with Barnage. We, as members of Barnage, just unite there for fun, for exchange, for information. That's all.
Yes. Thank you very. Yeah.
Thanks, Yvette.
You.
Fransje from Holland. Hello, Netherlands.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice.
Thank you, Almut. Thank you, Karl. Thank you, Yvette, for your question. My question tonight is maybe Lynn around?
Is Lynn here? I didn't check to see if
I
he.
haven't seen him. He sometimes comes in by surprise and sometimes he's here. There's a lot going on recently, so it could be that he's even skipping one or the other call. I know, no, I can't see him. He is in many calls in the USA, at least once a day, if not twice or three times. And
Yeah.
if he's not here, he definitely has a serious reason to not be here because he enjoys this call, especially the international one. Is there anything in particular we can forward to him?
I miss him.
You miss him? Oh, that is so sweet. We'll let him know. Yeah,
All right.
that is so
Very
cool.
good.
Because
Yeah.
usually on Friday night is my moment to see
Yes.
him. And all the times I was here on Friday night, he was there. So tonight
Exactly.
yeah.
That is why I'm
Okay.
saying he must have a serious reason. We let him know, Karl, right? We let him know.
You bet. We sure will.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Jackie,
Karl. Yeah.
Jackie, you had a question? Or
You
a
can
comment?
speak. You can unmute yourself.
Hi,
Jackie.
How are you?
Oh, you muted yourself again. Something or somebody muted you again. Just press the unmute button again, Jackie. We can't hear you.
is that it now? Can you hear me?
Now we can. Right.
Well,
Who
mine
made
isn't a
the call?
question. Mine is another amazing testimonial I want to give and to encourage people not to sit on the fence and how amazing this community is. First of all, thank you very much, Karl, for a wonderful presentation.
And I'll be right
And
back. I'll be right back, guys. But go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. And Almut, thank you as well for your lovely Friday night. So I would just like to say about what an amazing experience I had today.
Nice.
So I was helping. I've now got 109 people in my barn. So you know how I've got people go. Well, you know because I tell you, but not everybody on the call will know. I've got over 10 people I've sponsored. I've got 109 people in my barn. And today I was helping one of the members get their person on board, and it was really exciting because not only did I receive a step up donation and a 1Gen check match, but also quite a few in my barn received as well. And you know that to me excites me because it's a community spirit. It's about everybody receiving something. So I was getting messages from, oh my God, I got this today. I got that. So what I love is that you know, by helping people how this works and how it helps so many people. And I would encourage anyone that's maybe a little not sure, you know, this is very real. I've taken money out, so it's not just numbers on a screen. And I have received, since I joined Barnaje on the 9th of December, I've received over $8,000 in donations. I'm in step 9 and I've taken money out. So I just want to say to anyone that's thinking about this amazing opportunity, there's nothing else like it. And you can't be in the best, you can't be in a better place. You're with the best community of people and everybody's here to help each other. So I just wanted to say that so that if anybody wasn't sure.
Thank you, Jackie. That is so nice. And it's so true. I've had that too. Like in our group, everybody went like, oh my God, the raindrops came in just in time. I just needed it so much. So it's so like the raindrops are a special thing. Maybe we can get into that in part 2 a little bit, like 5 minutes or so, because the month only just started and everybody has it in their own hands what to do with the raindrops. And we have everything in our own hands anyway. We all have the same tool. And some working it slowly, some working it a little faster, but everybody has the same thing. It's so amazing. You know, there's no hierarchy, no CEO, no owner, no boss. You're your own boss. That's probably a little bit of a change for some people, but it works. It's amazing. And it works. I always say I start celebrating when all of my people are in 21. We celebrate a little bit in between though. Simon, if you want to have if you want to say something, would you please put on your video? Or Miriam, did you talk to him or something? No. So unfortunately, we can't take you. We need you to have. Yes, that's good. You're in the car. That's fine. No worries. Yeah. Thank you. You
Hi,
can.
can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, that was a great presentation, Mr. Aurora. My name is Simon. I'm based in Seattle, Washington. I had a question. Can you explain how you qualify for raindrops?
Yeah, real simple. I mean, the first two, are you just getting started, Simon?
Oh yes, I just got started about I think 3 days ago.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first two because that what would apply to you primarily. So if this qualification runs during the month, right? So it starts on the first of the month and ends at 6:30 p.m. Uh, Eastern time on the last day of the month. Okay, so and how that works is if you bring in two new people that you personally sponsor and you help those first two people or any two people actually whenever because this goes on for everyone is available, you bring in two new people, help those two new people bring in their first two new people, then you've qualified for a raindrop donation. And if you do double that, meaning you brought in four people during the month and you help those four people each get two of their own,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and you'll qualify for even more. So the first one, usually the two who get two, that's running about $500 a month on average. And if you get four who get two, that's running about $2,000 a month. And that's a donation that comes to you directly from the DAO for accomplishing that goal. And you're basically getting, and that money you can use to pay bills, or if you want to use it in building your business, you can do that as well. But it's a great way to get funding for your regular expenses while you build it to get it to the higher levels.
I
And
get you.
can I add
Go ahead.
something to
Yeah.
the nice thing is that everybody, all of us can start this every month. Every month. It goes from the beginning to the end of the month, as Karl said, but we can all start again. And if you invited four who invite two, you already have your team going. When I started here, I had this question. I asked that in my third Zoom call that I was listening to. I said, now what if I bring my four best people right away? Then the answer was, well, then you'll be faster. And I thought, I like that. Let me do this. And I brought my four people in 3 days. Most of us can do this if we use focus. If you're not focused, if you're all over the place, you can't do this. But if you really are focused on who wants to come with me, and let me go a little bit what I consider best people, because I found this incredibly important. I found in my 7 months with Barnaje, I found it makes a huge difference if you just put anybody there who probably doesn't even want to do this, or if you find somebody who is really on fire and says, that's my thing, let us do this together, I want to go with you. You need good people who keep moving. We're all an independent, sovereign galaxy. We're coming back in our own power. This plan, this amazing mathematics, is not good for lining up people or signing up anybody to fill a space. No good. You really need quality people. Quality people are the pioneers, the black sheep, the adventurers, in my eyes, right? You make your own book. You decide. But I believe we're creating a lot of motion here. And I always have the story of the 4 best hunters. In fact, I'm going to tell you because some of you guys already know it, but it's been given to me when I started. We all want to help others, right? So we all know people who need a lot of help, and some of them are completely broke. And we're trying to drag them into this, but then we over challenge them, some of them. And it is like as if you had the responsibility for a whole village to feed them. And would you take the whole village out hunting? The old, the sick, the children, those who can't ride a horse or can't take bow and arrow? Because if you did, you probably never come back home because you all be ending up tired and hungry somewhere. There would be no hunting. But if you take your 4 best hunters and the best horses and you go out for half a day, you have so much food that you can feed the whole village. That's my idea for Barnaje, because the mathematics are made the way that everybody supports each other, especially if everybody moves. If you take just anybody in there to fill a space, you create yourself a blockage. Don't do that. That story is super important, and it can be done super fast. All of you can do this if you focus, because we all have about I don't know, between 300 and 1,000 people in here. And we haven't ever thought about if they might be suitable for this because they are entrepreneurial and they would like to work with us here. And all we need to do is invite them for a Zoom call. Don't tell them anything. Don't ever tell them anything. Tell them what this is not, but don't try and tell them what this is, because that'll confuse them. They're not going to come to the Zoom call. But if you invite them to something interesting that you cannot explain, and if they say, what is it? Is it network? No, it's not. Is it crypto? No, it's not. Is it crowdfunding? No, it's not. They'll get curious and come with you and decide freely if this is for them. Just all I need is a presentation to decide, because you can feel it or you can't. If you can feel it, it's good.
Okay.
Simon,
Thank you so much. Then there is something else I wanted to ask. If I look at the back office and look at the list of webinars, I can see the Zoom calls for US, but they don't indicate the time zones.
Are they already in
So-
your town? Oh, sorry, Paul.
No, that's okay. Yeah, they should be in your time zone, whatever the time, because the back office is set for you. So what time you would have to be listening. Like for example, it shows in my back office the calls that are going on in Europe are happening at 4 a.m., at 2 a.m. my time, right? So it should say what time it is in your back office. When you click on it and it expands, and then you should be able to see all the information clearly there and what time it is.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You
Now,
bet.
I have one more thing for you, because I loved your one presentation where you were talking about inviting people to this. How do you do this? Because you're such an expert in this. I think it's amazing.
Well, the first thing is you have to own it. You have to believe it. If you call somebody and you're begging, it's hard to build a business from your knees, right? So, you've got to be positive. You got to be like, I'm excited, I'm on top of this, and you have to have that energy when you call somebody. If you call, imagine if you're trying to get somebody to commit to doing something like this. So you've got somebody that's going to propose to you. They're on their knees, they're on one knee, and they're holding up the ring, and they're saying, what do you think? Do you think you want to try something? This might work. Hopefully come on, right? You got to be serious. You got to be committed. So that's number one. So watch whatever you have to watch, listen to whatever trainings you have to listen to. So when you call somebody, you're not calling weak. You're calling positive with good energy. And then when I call somebody, I'm going to call the people that I know the best. So if I call somebody and I know them well, I'm going to say, hey, John, I've got something I want you to watch. Are you available tomorrow at 4:00? I need an hour of your time. And they're going to say, well, what is it for? I said, well, if I told you what it was for, I wouldn't need you to spend an hour on the phone, would I? I don't want to tell you what it's for. That's why I'm asking you, do you have the time, an hour for me or not? And if you don't have an hour, then when will you have an hour? I'm not giving them the option to drill me on what it is. Right? I'm telling them, listen, you have to hear it the way I heard it. I'm excited about it. You are going to love it. It's perfect for you. And that's why I thought of you as soon as I saw this. So you just need to hear it the way I heard it. So I can schedule it, 3 times a day. You tell me what time is best for you. I'll be there too. Right? And then you get them on one of the calls. But I don't tell them anything. I don't tell them anything. I tell them, listen, you got to get on this call. You're going to hear something you've never heard before, and use things like that, but not, when you start to try to explain things to them, you're going to get lost. You don't know how to answer the questions. That's why when I take people to the back office, the first thing that I ask you to do is go to frequently asked questions. They're the same questions. Everybody asks the same questions. So once you understand how to answer those 5 or 6 questions, then you're loaded. You're ready to go. But what people do is they call people randomly and they don't know the first thing. And the first time somebody says boo, they're gone, right? Because they didn't prepare. So what you have to do is you have to go there, find out what the questions are, familiarize yourself with the answers, which now gives you confidence to call. Because why don't people call? Because they don't know enough about it. They think somebody's going to ask them a question and they're going to be embarrassed. So don't allow yourself to be put in that position. Get your questions answered. Be positive. Tell them you got to get on this call. I can't explain it the way it needs to be explained. You need to hear it the way I heard it. Get on this phone. When can we do it? I'm excited. It's perfect for you. Blah, blah, blah. And just take that kind of information, make it personal to the way you would do it, But, I would go to my closest people first. you know. And then I would also tell you, if you had to look at your database of people, who would you know? Absolutely, not prejudging, but if you said, okay, of all these people I know, who would absolutely kill this thing, right? Absolutely bring 1,000 people overnight. And don't judge, oh, I don't think they'd be interested, or they're too busy. No, don't come up with all their excuses, because you're going to see them on a presentation coming up. And you're going to go, wow, I wouldn't have never thought they'd be interested. And here they are. Now they're becoming a big leader at Barnaje, and I could have called them, right? You don't know what they're going through. You don't know, even if they're so-called successful, you don't know if they really are successful still. You don't know what they're having to do to be successful. I can tell you, I know people that do very well in business, but they hate what they're doing. If they could find another thing to do to be successful, and you know what? They're the kind of people that are going to be successful in whatever they do, because that's how they think. They are get it done people. And it wouldn't matter if they're going to become a doctor or they're going to become a carpenter. They're going to be really good at it because that's who they are, right? When you think of you know, some of the famous players, right? Say in soccer, right? I don't know. I don't watch soccer, but take a Ronaldo, right? If he's still popular, I don't know if he is, but is he worried about whether he could be successful in soccer or anything else? Is he worried about what happens if the team goes away? No, because he's Ronaldo, right? So find people that are like that are going to be successful. They're in the habit of winning. You know, you can invite people that are in the habit of losing, which is what some people do. They focus on all the losers in their life and say, I want to turn these losers into winners. We call them losers because they lose, right? So don't go to those people. Go to the people who win. You know, the people that have everything they touch turns to gold, right? We have a company over here that does mufflers. It's called Midas, the Midas touch. You know, I said, some people, everything they touch turns into a muffler, right? I'm looking for people that everything they touch turns to gold, right? And we all know those people. Most of us are afraid to talk to them. And here's what you do. If somebody says, you know, I looked at it, it's not for me. Great. Who do you know that it's perfect for? And now you got them referring you people, right? So just some ideas.
Cool. We never stop learning here, by the way. It's amazing. There's always something else to learn in one of these calls. And so keep coming back here. It's super important. I wanna call out Abba. Abba, sweetheart, how are you doing? I've been watching you for the past few months. How
Rockstar.
is everything?
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Almut. Yes. Barnaje is amazing. I feel so blessed, so fortunate, so thankful and grateful that my brother told me about Barnaje. My name is Abba and I live in London. I'm originally from Ghana, on the west coast of Africa, but I've lived in London over 30 years, so I'm a Londoner. By way of background, I'm a scientist. I'm a biomedical scientist, and I've worked in that profession for over 3 decades with the National Health Service in the United Kingdom. So I like investigating things. I'm analytical by nature. I just try and get to the bottom of things. So alongside my profession, I've been involved in other multi-level marketing businesses, but you know, those didn't go very well. I didn't make much money, although I did learn a lot. I mean, everything is an experience and everything is a learning opportunity. So in the last couple of years, just after COVID, I got involved in crypto and I did lose a lot of money in all these what we call numbers on a screen type situations that you may have heard about or even been involved in. And so really at the beginning of 2024, I decided to just sit back. You know, I do trade Forex as well. So I was just involved with that. But even that is a very, very tough, you know, environment to be in. And so by the time my brother told me about Barnaje at the end of July, I was open, but I wasn't actively involved in anything like that. And he said, you will like this, have a look. So in the same night, I looked at 2 presentations and I haven't been off the presentations since. I love them. And by the end of that evening, I had decided I was going to give Barnaje a go, a proper go. So on the 1st of August this year, I donated my 350 USDT, and I got access to the back office, and I just delved in there, had a look at what I needed to have a look at. And in 2 or 3 days, I felt confident that I was happy with this. And so I started inviting my friends and former business colleagues, so to speak. And so in August, I was able to bring on 6 people to join me, and we sort of joined forces and kept building together. So in August, I qualified for tier 2 of the raindrops, which you have heard about. And that was an amazing thing for me because the qualification that month was 2,100 and something USDT, which, even in pounds, it was, about 1,800 pounds. So it was very, very good for me. I was able to put that towards certain things that I needed to take care of. And in September, I was able to bring on another 6 people and qualified yet again for tier 2 because as you have said, it is something that you can restart on the 1st of every month and have that as a goal, whether you're introducing 4 and helping them introduce their 2, or introducing 2 and help them introducing their 2. So I qualified yet again for tier 2 in September, and that qualification, the payout was also 2,031 USDT. So it's just those 2 months since I started in just the raindrops, I had been allocated 4,000 USDT. And just today, I qualified again for tier 1 and tier 3, because tier 3 was introduced when the diamond matrix was introduced on the 30th of September. And from the diamond matrix as well, I have been allocated quite a lot of capital. So Barnaje has really given me hope again. It has really, ignited in me all the feelings of, reaching for my dreams. And I see now that it's possible. So in total, I have 15 people personally enrolled, and in my team, we're about 405, maybe 410, but it's just over 400. And we're all building. I'm very supportive of my team, and they are very supportive of me. And we work. I have my leaders, and we're working very closely together. Barnaje is amazing. All the information is there. In fact, all the heavy lifting is done by people like Almut and Karl and Russ and Jacob and, Coach Darren and Hugh and all these people who put on these amazing presentations for us. So it's for us to plug into the system and bring our guests to see this and just offer this amazing opportunity to the people around us. So I am really loving it, and I am very, very fortunate. I have been able to pay off some loans in the short time that I've been with Barnaje. I've been able to, help family members, and I am just so excited and so grateful for the genius of Lynn to put this together, and for the leaders that we have in this amazing, amazing opportunity who are helping all of us build our dreams and our projects and our bands. Thank you so much, Elmut. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Abba. This is so amazing. You're such an example, especially for those people who keep asking, when can I take money out? I mean, look at her. Yeah, look at her, what she did. She grabbed this tool, and used it the very best way. Boom, today, right away. This is what she did. And she has that energy. There's no excuse. There's focus. She built a huge team in no time, 3 months, 400 people. Thank you very much. That's stunning.
Yeah.
Twice, tier 2.
Yeah.
Most people don't even ever get tier 2. And you're showing that this works.
Yeah.
So cool.
Thank you.
And I just wrote you a PN, like a personal message here in the chat, because I want us to get together on Telegram so we can do workshops together and how to do this. Because
Thank you.
because you are an amazing example for this is what in front of our face. Then figured out one day we could all be on step 21 in 12 days if we weren't in our own way. That's the only thing. The system is brilliant. It's a Lamborghini. It depends on how we drive it, yeah? Who remembers Pretty Woman, the movie, yeah? I mean, we got to learn how to drive this thing. It's brilliant. It's just nowadays complete diamond. It's all we could wish for. for all the little things. And there's like, if you get a no excuse attitude like Abba does, this will work for you, for all of us. I'm learning too from you, Abba. Like, you're re-sparking everything all the time. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And again, I see you as a presenter. I do. Karl, what do you think? I see you as-
My vote. Got my
Thank
vote.
you.
yeah.
It's a great thing, guys. This is not a predatory organization. There is no, I mean, if you're involved in a network marketing company, and I've got nothing against network marketing companies, but the truth is that you're going to spend thousands of dollars every year just to keep your check coming. Usually hundreds of dollars every month just to keep your check coming. So, here you don't have to worry about any of that. It's a one-time 350. There's no monthlies. There's no annuals. There's nothing. It's not a predatory organization. So that's a really positive thing. So, I mean, I think personally, I don't understand people getting impatient about withdrawing money. I mean, to me, it's like you're like building a bank account. Just let it build, and when it gets really nice and big and fat, you just take money out whenever you want. But the faster you get there, the better off it's going to be. And all you have to do is work with people, helping them to see the same thing. It's pretty simple. And if you take that chart that's in the back office, and just build, everybody should have that chart, and it should be on their refrigerator with what their project is, what their name is, and you can see three levels that you're filling in. So you're calling these people. I mean, if you were in business and you had a manager at a restaurant, how often would you call them? I mean, you'd be calling every day. Well, you want to find out what's happening. You should be calling your people every day. Do you have somebody? Are you ready? Who do you need me to talk to? What do you need? What can I do to help you? Just fundamentals, basic business.
Great. Exactly. And yeah, we are becoming more and more people who understand this. That's why it's going so fast. I needed, you're going to be faster than me, Abba, I think. I needed 6 months to get to the last floor. So everybody can do this. I've got people in my team that are faster than this. Just to answer that question that's always in the room. And we're working on a training like step 10 is really the step that you could take money out. You can always take it out, but you shouldn't, because then you probably miss out on donations. We teach that in the trainings. You can come, but it's doable. Like, some people even get there in a month. It's easily doable in 2 months if you do it. If you sit there and wait for others to do it, it might be taking a long time. Don't ever sit there, wait for others to do it. Who's the only person you can really rely on? Who knows the answer? It's truly only yourself. There's no anybody, unless you delegate all your power to a boss or somebody. It's you. And we can learn so much here at Barnaje, because there's a lot of cosmic principles. I call these things cosmic principles in here, and they're being reflected to us. So we can also do a lot of self-exploring and self-growth here. And there are also trainings in the back office that are worth thousands, because of course we have to get rid of some old patterns, and we have to kind of sometimes watch ourselves and go, what am I doing and what am I not doing, and learn and step forward. And we've got all the tools there too. We didn't even talk about that today, but there are a lot of treasures in the back office, including recordings that you will have access to as a member. And you can use them to recap, to repeat, to train yourself, and also to screen share with your friends. You can't send them all over the place, but you can invite friends to a Zoom call and go through a recording and, go through some questions and answers with some friends. But that does not substitute the live Zoom calls. So if you have newbies and you want to get them to know this, just invite them to a Zoom call, as we just said. And I'm 100% sure Abba doesn't talk much either when she invites people. She probably doesn't tell them much either, because that works best. We've all made that mistake. So, you don't need to do that either. I think we've got it for today. Is anybody else here who wants to have any answers? Other than that, I would welcome and invite you again for next Friday. Bring your international friends. The crew is growing here. We were almost 200 today. So we'll double this next time. Everybody brings one friend, no matter where you are from. I've seen super interesting countries. I went through your notes. Thank you for that. You're through the chat, and it's again like from Sweden to South Africa, the whole globe is here. So it's amazing. And even from Australia or New Zealand, from down under, and it's, I think, the middle of the night in your places. Thank you for doing this. And I personally feel honored to be in all of your presence, and also honored to have Karl here spending his precious time with us. And I want to thank you again, Karl, for doing this and for teaching us again from your box of wisdom. Endless. It's an open one.
Thank you. And welcome, everyone.
Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you for being here.
Yeah, and what we can do is you can all unmute if you like and say goodbye to each other and with each other what you want to wish each other for the day or the night.
Bye.
Yes, and we'll meet.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Karl.
Bye.
Aloha.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Be blessed. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
goodbye.
Thank you. Good night. See you next week.
Yes, have a happy journey.
We
here.
love you.
Bye,
Aloha.
everyone. Good day. Good
Aloha.
night.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks,
See you
Carl.
next week again.
Bye.
Mariam. Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Dag.
Thank you.
Hartelijk bedankt. Doei.
Thank you, Miriam, also
Call
for
me, guys.
you.
Call me.
Thank you,
Good
everybody.
night. Thank you. Yeah.
Yvette, ik heb je nog een boodschap.